Hey, what's up everybody? It's LeeLos, and today we're continuing talking about the legendary greatness of Water 7. Stay steady in the pursuit of your dreams and goals. You're born to win, you're made for greatness, and I definitely believe in you guys. Keep up the great work each and every day. So, after Luffy gives Usopp a right hook straight to the tummy, he's sad and pretty serious for the longest stretch of time that we've seen in the series so far. Luffy doesn't smile again until chapter 346, and he doesn't laugh again until chapter 364. He still does some silly Luffy-like things in the meanwhile, like diving headfirst into enemy territory without thinking, but during this string of 13 to 31 chapters, it's very obvious that Luffy is still hurt over what happened with Usopp, and is kind of wrestling with it and processing it in his mind. It's another good example of Luffy's subtle character development. Franky shows up and wants to give Luffy the hands. Luffy sees Franky and wants to give Franky the hands as well, so Luffy and Franky start brawling. Franky introduces another power system and species into the One Piece series. He's gained powers similar to a devil fruit by modifying his body with technology, so he's a cyborg. A lot of scientists in the One Piece world modify humans with technology, examples being Marines modifying Kuma, Queen modifying himself, Germa modifying their children. So Franky's the first cyborg we see in One Piece, but he's not the only cyborg in One Piece. They just come later into the series. There's a lot more of them. Most of Franky versus Luffy is off screen and they don't get to finish their fight, but Franky was relative to what base Luffy had displayed in their fight so far. To be fair, One Piece characters typically use their most powerful attacks later into the fight, so we don't know if this version of Franky would have been able to handle Luffy's more powerful attacks like Gum Gum Storm for example, but this fight is fun for debating because you can make arguments for it going either way at this point in the story. I lean more towards base Luffy being stronger than Franky even at this point in the series, because Franky had already used some of his more powerful attacks on Luffy, but Luffy, while on screen, was still only using his basic attacks like Gum Gum Whip. So from what we saw, it's more like full power Franky was about as strong as Luffy while Luffy was warming up, but obviously Enies Lobby Luffy and beyond just stomps Franky out incredibly easily. Like by the end of Enies Lobby, Luffy can just low diff Franky. The Straw Hats are framed for trying to assassinate Iceberg. The top 5 strongest shipwrights fight Luffy and Franky. Luffy's not fighting back much, but still the shipwrights have impressive feats. Polly, Mr. Lulu, and Tilestone scale below Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, but they're still powerful characters. They can take attacks from Franky, and Luffy comments saying that the shipwrights are strong. Each one of them is relative to Arlong, but likely stronger than Arlong, especially Polly. Lucy and Kaku reveal that One Piece characters can suppress their power and hold back a lot, kind of similar to Ki Control in Dragon Ball Z, because here they make themselves seem relative to Polly, but a few chapters later we see literally the weakest member of CP9, Khalifa, is capable of one-shotting Mr. Lulu. The Straw Hats aren't sure if Robin betrayed them or not, so now Luffy has to deal with the possibility that they're having 2 crew members quit at the same time. Fast forward a bit, Iceberg reveals a lot of information about one of the ancient weapons. Iceberg has blueprints to one of the ancient weapons. It's a ship that can destroy the world of One Piece. The Marines say that if any other organization built that ship, that the Marines would not be able to counter against it. Now, it's very possible that the Marines were just lying and that people like Emu could be stronger than the ancient weapons for all we know, but if they're telling the truth, then it really puts a cap on the most powerful One Piece characters being around large planet level or multi-planetary. A quick way to scale it is like this. Marines felt that they could counter the Yonko with just the admirals and the 7 warlords, even though Whitebeard is stated to be able to destroy the world, even while he's sick and dying, and Prime Roger scales way above that. Yet a single ship that can destroy the world is stated to be more than the entire Marine force can handle. Garp, Sengoku, and everyone, all of them included, right? So there's a couple different ways you could interpret that. Number one, you could say that Whitebeard, some of the Yonko, and a few other top tier characters in One Piece scale to small planet level in attack potency, but this ancient weapon is multi-planetary, which just far surpasses anything that the Marines have. Keep in mind that the One Piece world is potentially twice to several times as large as our actual planet Earth, so being able to destroy the One Piece world likely puts characters above small planet level in attack potency, so for them to be completely outclassed by just one of the ancient weapons would have to be around multi-planetary. Option 2, the Marines could just straight up be lying, and there could already possibly be several characters in the world of One Piece that are far stronger than the ancient weapons, but the Marines are just power hungry and they don't want anyone else to have a fighting chance, so that's why they're still really hungry to get the ancient weapons anyway. Option 3, Whitebeard being a world buster is just a hyperbole, like an exaggeration, which I don't believe that. And as of right now, the power scaling for this is still debatable and it could go either of these 3 ways depending on how Oda decides to wrap up the series, but in my opinion, option 1 seems to be the most likely. Also, here's a quick way to describe attack potency. Imagine a planet planet has 100 HP points in a video game, but a character like Goldie Roger has attacks that do 150 points of damage. So his attack power is more than enough to destroy the world, but his attack range and the size of its attacks are very small. So even though his attack is strong enough to destroy the world, the range and size of the attack is so small that it just like disintegrates a mountain, for example. So that's how you can have characters that have planetary attack potency, but when they're fighting, their attacks aren't blowing up the planet because like the size and the range of the attack is not that big. Luffy and Zoro get absolutely low diffed by Lucy. Lucy was a lot stronger than both of them at this point. So it's really the first time in the series we've seen Luffy and Zoro both get ragdolled like that when they weren't weakened or disadvantaged by something. Lucy is simply built different, and later chapters reveal that Luffy and Zoro get massive power-ups this arc. Finally, we learn a lot more about Franky and the ancient weapons during Franky's flashback. This is my favorite flashback in the series so far, and honestly, it's just top-tier writing. The flashback introduces Tom. He's Franky's adopted father, a super happy fishman, the greatest shipwright in the entire world of One Piece, and he's embraced being built different for quite some time. He's one of my favorite characters in One Piece, and honestly, he proves that if you give Oda about 10 chapters and a good flashback, he'll give you a top-tier character. Tom is basically Luffy if Luffy was born as a fishman, with a good splash of Whitebeard's love for family thrown in there. He's an extremely underrated character. He was only in the series for a short while, but he turns out to be one of the most important characters in the story. He built the ship that Goldie Roger sailed on, so he built the ship for the previous Pirate King, and was entrusted with blueprints to a ship that could literally destroy the world. He had it for possibly decades, and with his skill, he could have built it at any time he wanted to and just destroyed the world or taken over the world if he wanted to, but instead he chose to just live his entire life humbly, raising Franky and Iceberg, not even talking about the fact that he has all this power, and honestly, he was treated like trash. I'll just be really honest with you, dude. Tom was treated like dirt. Literally, he lived in a dump under a bridge. The citizens of Water 7 chased Tom out of town and forced him to live under a bridge because he built Goldie Roger's pirate ship, which is very hypocritical because the shipwrights for Water 7 build ships for pirates all the time. This whole flashback hits a lot harder when you do rereads of One Piece because you realize that a lot of the world of One Piece is racist towards fishmen. So Tom, even though he's this jolly, legendary Luffy type man, most likely was being discriminated against by the citizens of Water 7 at least a little bit, especially when you see the citizens call him like a wild fishman and stuff. It's pretty sad stuff, I'll be honest, but it's honestly really amazing seeing how through all this unfairness, Tom still stays jolly and happy. Tom's sentenced to be executed for building a Goldie Roger ship, and despite being the best shipwright in the world, Tom doesn't even seem to be rich. He just lives under a bridge, gets treated like dirt, but he just doesn't care. He raises up his boys Franky and Iceberg, builds his ships, and that's plenty good for him. He's happy. He's a legendary character. Legendary. It's revealed Water 7 is a sinking island. Each year it sinks more and more, and eventually the island will disappear. Not only that, but pirates have been slapping up Water 7 pretty bad, and the businesses on Water 7 are falling apart. So basically, the citizens of Water 7 are in some real tough stuff. Tom builds the sea train, and the sea train actually ends up saving Water 7 from completely collapsing financially because now Water 7 can do business with other islands. It takes Tom 14 years to build the train, and the Marines are like, alright, just build the train for 14 years. After that, we'll execute you. And once the train's built, the Marines actually decide that they're going to let Tom go instead and just not execute him because they see that the sea train literally saved the entire island of Water 7. However, the One Piece world government wants Tom's blueprints to build the planet-busting ship. Tom says, nah. So Spandam, he's one of the CP8 agents, Spandam steals ships that Franky has built and uses them to attack Water 7, probably killing some civilians. Tom, Franky, and Iceberg are blamed for this, and the end result is that Tom sacrifices himself so that Franky and Iceberg can go free. So the very day that Tom was supposed to be freed from being executed, he's framed and is forced to be executed anyway. The really sad thing is that when they take Tom away to be executed, they take him on the sea train that Tom himself built to save Water 7. It's very sad. Franky tries to stop the train, gets ran over by it, and rebuilds himself as a cyborg. It's also revealed that after Tom dies, Kokoro starts drinking and becomes an alcoholic. That's why she's always drunk when the Straw Hats meet her. Another really great piece of writing is this. When Franky and Iceberg are growing up, Iceberg tells Franky countless times to stop building battleships. Franky builds them for fun, but Iceberg says building things that powerful could end up hurting people he cares about, and that's exactly what happens. Marines steal Franky's battleships and blast Tom and Iceberg with them. Iceberg tells Franky that if Tom gets taken away, he'll never forgive Franky for this. Many years pass, and Iceberg still hasn't forgiven Franky, but he reveals that he still cares about Franky a lot because they're adopted brothers, they grew up together. It's incredible writing, incredible stuff, and honestly, I'm super excited to read Enies Lobby. Oh, another cool thing that was revealed in this arc is that Franky's real name is Cutty Flam, and he changed his name to Franky so that he would be able to hide the blueprints to build the world-busting ship without them knowing that he was Cutty Flam. So Franky's real name is Cutty Flam, but he changed it to Franky. So it's an amazing arc. I really thought I'd be able to get to Enies Lobby and make this video about Enies Lobby, but I didn't realize like how much cool, amazing stuff happened in Water 7, so I wanted to make this video finishing up the stuff with Water 7 first. And yeah, I love this arc. I love it a lot, and I'm super excited for Enies Lobby. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Let me know what you thought about the power scaling in this video. I love doing power scaling stuff. When I do these videos, I like to throw power scaling in there just because it's so fun to me. It's just really interesting. Yeah, let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next. My plan is for the next video, it's going to be Greatness of Enies Lobby Explained. I might have to do a part 1 and part 2 for that one as well. And yeah, there's a lot of other videos I'm working on too. A lot of cool stuff going on. And the goal is just to get new videos coming out every weekend. And thank you to all the new viewers and everyone who's coming in and checking out these videos and really liking them. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for all your comments and for watching the videos, because these videos are super fun for me to make, and to see you guys like it as well, it's just really, really cool. So I really appreciate it, guys. Tons more videos coming out. And yeah, keep up the great work towards your dreams and goals. I believe in you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.